Chances are, if you're a beginner DJ and you're hitting the decks and you're encountering problems, it's going to be one of the things that I'm talking about in this video today. So check this video out. It's full of gold nuggets, especially if you're just starting out. Some DJs go so wild on the effects, it's the first thing they hit, okay? And it's like they're trying to do a remix of the remix. But here's the truth, if the track actually sounded better with effects the whole way through it, the producer would have made it that way. So I always say, okay, effects are like icing on a cake. First, you get the cake right. That means solid transitions, clean phrasing, tight EQ work, and then and only then sprinkle on a little bit of icing with subtle effects to enhance the transitions. When using effects, especially early on, keep them subtle. Start gently by perhaps adding just a little bit of filter or maybe a little bit of echo to the transition point of the outgoing song. The main thing at first is to not let the effects become the main feature. They're to support the mix, not hijack it. So I really feel with the effects, keep them low in the mix on the outgoing song. Another thing that beginners do is they just hit play and they mix songs together just at random points. So songs typically follow a structure. So you might have an intro, maybe a verse that builds up to the chorus. The chorus is probably the main part of the song. Then after the chorus, it might go into a breakdown or a second verse that might have a build up. Then you go into another chorus and maybe then an outro. To cut those sections in half can sometimes sound a little bit jarring. So for an example, let's imagine you're playing the chorus, and let's say you're even on the dance floor and a DJ is playing the chorus of a song and you're loving that, and then halfway through the chorus they just mix in an intro with another song. It's like, oh my god, like I'll show you that real fast. So here's the thing, you want to keep the flow going, and keep that kind of feeling organic. And what I mean by that is, let's say it's building up to the drop. I'm not going to put like an intro and like just swap out the drop with an intro. That's going to really bring the energy back. But if you're going to actually mix on that drop, well, you could do a double drop or you could swap it with the drop of another song and you're keeping the flow. So yeah, so let's say I'm mixing in after the chorus, which is a really great place to start. If you're mixing in after the last chorus over an outro, perhaps try mixing the intro over the outro. Or if you're mixing into the middle of the song and it's dropping off to go to the verse, maybe you could practice mixing the verse of another song. Matching the flow of the song, so if it's going to a verse, and matching those parts, it's a really, really great way to get started. But even if you're matching the parts, another thing to be careful of is clashing elements, okay? And what I mean by that is if you go do a double drop and you got both drops playing together, it can sometimes sound a little bit intense. Or maybe you go put two tracks together and you got vocals on vocals and it's just like, whoa. So if both tracks have banging energy, okay, or if they've both got vocals running at the same time, man, it just turns into chaos. So instead, look for spots in the track where it breathes. Perhaps like there's a little breakdown or there's a place that you can do a clean mix, like an instrumental section, and just bring in your new track onto these platforms. Phrasing is a musical term for the sections within a song, okay, so for the beat. I dive fully into this in my course, but just quickly, tracks are made up of beats, and those beats are usually arranged into groups of 4, and those 4 beats are called a bar. Then how many bars there are until there's a change in the pattern, like something new kicks in, like maybe a vocal kicks in, maybe it goes to a drop, that's called a phrase. When mixing, right, you want to line up the phrases, like the main changes in the song. So when DJs match up the big changes of both tracks and even emphasize the phrases in the track with bass swapping and even highlighting them even further using filters, man, it kind of is moving organically with what the song does. So again, just to emphasize this, where the changes happen in the song, that's like the first beat of a phrase. So if we're going to be bringing in a song, we want those changes to line up. So if I'm bringing in a song, bang, it comes in on that change and the changes line up. But then to take it further, swap the basses on the changes, emphasize the changes, do everything that you can to work with the phrases in the track. Now, in my course, okay, I actually think phrasing isn't just something to be taught, okay? It's got to be conditioned. You don't want to be counting bars. You don't want to be counting music while you play. You want to be feeling the changes. You want to be working with it. You got to know how it is. And I've got, man, the stuff that I've got in my course about phrasing and then even EQ work and then building it, man, it's really exciting. It'll take you from zero to hero, man. EQ stands for equalization, and it controls frequency bands in each track. Now the bass, okay, that controls the bass of the song. The mids controls like the personality, the melodies and the vocals, and the highs, that's all that top end frequencies. Now straight up is how the song comes recorded. So if I'm just playing a song the whole way through, I just leave it straight up. The only time I really use the EQ is when I'm playing two songs together for the transition. So here's the thing, okay, the most common way to start using the EQ is to reduce the bass for your incoming song. And that means then when you bring in your new song, because the bass is down, it's sitting in the background. Then when you're ready to make your new song dominant, you can swap the basses, taking that up to midnight, like pretend it's a clock. So, you know, just taking them up to there. Then that makes that the dominant song and this one's in the background. That's a really, really great place to start. But here's the thing. If you're using an entry-level controller, man, you might have bass on bass and bring it up and not really hear much of a problem, okay? But trust me, man, when you hit a club or a party or anywhere that's got a sub and you're on gear that's got like bigger sound cards and basically the sound's a bit more responsive than the entry level stuff, if you go bass on bass, it's going to be like, whoa, and it's just going to be messy, it's going to be jarring, it's going to be shit. So you can still practice on these, even though you might not get the sensitivity in the EQ as you do on the bigger equipment. See, the sound card on the bigger equipment's a bit more sensitive. You can really hear the bass on bass, as on here. Some of the cheaper stuff, you don't hear a lot of the EQ as much as you do on the more expensive stuff, but you can still get the motions down. So great place to start again. Reduce the bass for the one you're bringing in, bring that in. When you're ready to make that dominant, and that would be on a change, the phrasing, you swap the basses, okay? And that's a great place to start. But then in my course, again, I dive all into the EQ and I've got methods explaining the EQ like no one's ever taught it before. I love my baby. I've really figured out how to teach people by teaching thousands of one-on-ones over the years. And I've built my Club Ready course, and the results that people are getting from that, it blows my mind. As well as the EQ, you should also keep an eye on the trims just above the EQ. So you got your volume faders for each channel, okay? And you got your crossfader to go between them. Sometimes I deactivate this. I'm just going to leave that in the center for now and use my volume faders. You got your EQ to control what the dominant song in the track is. But then you've got your trims at the top here, and it's kind of like another volume fader. But if you're getting all your tracks from reputable sites, you can probably just leave them straight up and all the songs are recorded at roughly the same level. But let's say you're getting something off YouTube or whatever, what might happen is it's recorded softer, and then you got the volume up for both. But then if these are both the same, well, this one's say from Beatport, it could be a lot louder than this song, and that's where you can push the trim and get more from the volume. It's like an extra volume. But here's the thing, if I've gone and boosted it for one song and then I've gone and put on a song that's recorded a bit louder, then all of a sudden I'm in the reds there. And then when you're playing live, when you hit the reds like that, it distorts the sound. And if you record it like that, it's going to come out like, you know, muffled and everything. So in short, redlining is a no-no, and a lot of people are doing it. So if you do see it in the reds, okay, use the trim and just pull that back, trim the signal so it's sitting just below the reds, okay? Playing only what you like or sticking to a rigid set list no matter what's happening around you means you miss the point, okay? DJing is a conversation, it's not a lecture. So when you play, sure, prepare your playlists, but also do your best to read the room and stay flexible. So for instance, let's say, okay, you've prepared a set, you're playing at your first ever house party, and you go into, let's say, some Afro house, and perhaps it clears the dance floor, and you were planning on playing like, Afro house for the next 20 minutes based on your set. Man, you'd need to pivot. If they don't like it, you're not going to get a better response by doing the same thing. So what it means is, when reading a crowd, I find it's usually a balance between, do you play commercial music or create more maybe underground tracks to create a mood? So let's say you're at a party, you really love new disco music, but perhaps, it's not late enough in the night, people aren't drunk enough for that kind of fun stuff. So you could pivot, maybe, try some tech house. And if that doesn't get the best response, maybe even a commercial anthem, maybe even some pop music. Now, I feel when playing parties right, you can prep by vibe, not genre, and just adapt to what the crowd needs in that moment. But it's also important to follow your intuition and remain flexible, and in truth, to always turn up to the events you want to play with a whole bunch of options, so you're never empty-handed and left going, what am I going to play? Okay, so you may have playlists sorted by genre, by event, by mood, and in short, if the energy dips, you got to switch gears, and if the crowd's hyped, man, ride it. Your job is to guide the vibe. You can't force it. You've got to kind of go with what's working, and that means, taking chances, trying to relate to the crowd, see what they're vibing with. Yeah, now I know, okay, it sounds scary, and sure, you're going to have good nights and bad nights, but confidence comes from showing up for yourself and turning what once felt challenging into something that you love and enjoy. Just remember, the bad nights usually carry the greatest lessons. So welcome the good and the bad, and commit to making constant and never-ending improvements. And in 1 year's time, you won't even recognize yourself. Repetition builds rhythm, and rhythm builds confidence. This one's big, okay? I've seen DJs panic mid-set because they didn't know how to troubleshoot their gear. So for instance, let's say you haven't got any sound. You have to ask yourself, do you have signal? Now, if you don't have signal, it could come down to how the gear's connected to the system. You could ask, are the volume faders up, okay? Perhaps the filter's been left on from the previous DJ, or maybe an effect's been left on. You have to know this stuff. And let's say you're relying on sync, but you don't understand beat matching, or you load a track onto the song playing and everything stops and you freeze, then man, it's time to get back to the basics. So you need to learn your gear, practice without the screen and practice without sync, learn to beat match, get your foundation super strong, make the gear an extension of you. Now remember, confidence does come from practice. So if you're worried about making the jump from controller to club gear, I have a whole bonus section in my Club Ready DJ course on how to master the gear, how to turn up, how to be confident in every single scenario. So the link for that's in the description. I read a quote once that said, an ounce of image is worth a pound of performance. So when you DJ, your energy is contagious. So if you're playing and you've got your head down or you're staring at your computer screen the whole time, man, it kills the vibe. People want to feel your presence. So be grateful you're there, turn up, have some fun, relax, move with the music, put your hands up, dance, smile, put your chest out, connect with the music and the room, and act in a way that you would want your audience to react to you. And that means you get excited, you get excited too. And I remember just the other day, I bought a piano course, okay? Not for the info, but because the teacher's energy drew me in. Same with DJing. You are the vibe, okay? So there you have it, the top DJ mistakes and how to avoid them. Let me know in the comments which one you're guilty of, okay? No shame, we have all been there. And if you haven't been there, well, maybe it's the path ahead, okay? They say to truly master something, you have to be a disaster. Okay, now, if you found this helpful, give it a like, subscribe for more DJ tips. And if you're serious about leveling up, check out my full course, okay? It's my baby, and it's helped thousands of people worldwide to go from the bedroom to having the confidence to play in clubs on any gear, any genre. It's the best value DJ course in the world, and it's my baby. I love it. Okay, now anyway, check it out, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, you got this.